Hello, it's Sonia here with The Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today we are going to be making another cowl. So I have my K hook or 6.5 millimeter hook, and we are going to be using this big boy here, so I can't even fit it in the camera. So I zoomed out so you could see that we are using this Bernat chunky yarn, and this yarn is, let's see, here's the yarn label. So this one is a number 6, definitely a thicker yarn, and hopefully I'll have enough yardage. I have an idea in my head. I'm hoping it pans out. So why don't we get started? I showed you that we were using the K hook, but I had already worked up the sample, so I'm just going to show you the stitch pattern, because you can make this cowl as long as you would need to fit around your neck, and you could use lighter weight yarn as well, but this is like supposed to be a really cozy cowl, so I do suggest using the heavier yarn. So here you go, you can see what we're going to be doing here. So here is a sneak peek of the stitch pattern, and it's going to be super cozy. I mean, you'll see it in the previews anyway, but I'm just going to show you the stitch pattern with worsted weight yarn. And I'm using an eye hook, but for the sample, I use, chunky yarn, that Bernat, which is very chunky, fuzzy. It's very soft, so this will be a great cowl to wear when it's super cold. All right, so to get started with the stitch pattern, you are going to need to chain 20. Okay, so I have my 20 chains here. So let's get started for row 1. So row 1, we are working in the back bump of the chain. So you're going to turn the chain over. So here you can see all the bumps. And we're going to single crochet in that second chain from our hook in the back bump. And we are just going to single crochet all the way across. So our first couple rows will be our foundation rows. We're just setting up, getting ready to be able to work the cable pattern. So not too exciting yet, so we're just going to keep going. Okay, so we completed row 1. I have my 19 single crochet, so let's chain 1 and turn our work. So this is row 2, and this is an even row, so all of our even rows will be the right side. So let's get started. We are going to chain 1, turn our work, which I did, and we are actually going to work a double crochet right in that same stitch. And we are going to double crochet all the way across for row 2. And at the end of row 2, you will have 19 double crochet. So I'm going to keep going here. Okay, so we have row 2, we have our 19 double crochet. So let's do row 3. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. We're going to single crochet in that same stitch, and we're going to single crochet across. So just a repeat of row 1, and for the rest of the pattern, all of your odd rows will be single crochet rows. So the cabling will only be worked on the right side, which I do prefer to do. I'm not a big fan of back post stitches. I mean, I could certainly do them, but I just prefer, if I can, to do all my post stitches as front post stitches. So for this pattern, all of the cabling will be on the right side. So I'm going to keep going here, and I'll meet you back at the end of row 3. Okay, so we have row 3 done, our single crochet row. So now we're going to get ready for row 4. So for row 4, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and this is when we're going to start our cabling. And when we do the cables, we will not be working in the single crochets. Alright, so let's get started. So we're going to yarn over twice. We're going to work triple crochet, front post triple crochet. So we are going to skip this first double crochet and work front post triple crochet around this one. And if you haven't worked post stitches before, these are post stitches. I can put a link up for you to get you familiar with post stitches. Alright, so now we're going to work front post triple crochet again, and we are going to work in the one we skipped right here, but we're going to work behind So what that means is if you're working front, you usually just cross over like this, but sometimes you need to work behind. So it's a little bit tricky, but not too bad once you get going. So you can move the stitches around. So I'm actually lifting this guy up to kind of sneak my hook back there. And I'm going to grab that first double crochet that we made. And just pick that up with my hook and work my front post triple crochet. So these stitches are very sturdy, so don't be afraid that you're going to mess up your work. And also a good rule of thumb when you're doing cabling, because we are going to be cabling with these post stitches, it might look like a mess in the beginning, especially because these are some braided cables, so you have to get a couple rows in before it starts to pop out. So if you're working on it and you're like, this looks horrible, don't panic. You got to get a couple rows in, a couple repeats, and then you're like, oh, it's coming together. All right, so we've worked our first two. We're going to now front post triple crochet around this guy here. Okay, so now we are going to work 2 double crochet, and when we do just regular double crochet, we're going to work in the single crochets. So 1 and 2. Yep, keep that hook in there. So we have our 2 double crochet. All right, so now we are going to be working our big braid in the middle here. So that's going to be worked over 9 stitches. And that's going to take quite a few rows for that to pop out. So in the beginning, it really is going to look like a mess. So don't panic. As long as your hook, your stitches are in the right places, it is going to come together. But in the beginning, you know, you're just going to be kind of like, I'm not sure about this. But trust the process. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to skip 3 stitches, 3 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3. We're skipping those 3, and we are going to work front post triple crochet around the next 3. So it's going to be a big reach, and like I said, it is going to look a little messy, but it does straighten itself out. So we're going to work front post triple crochet around this one too. And one more. Okay, so we have our 3 stitches. So now we need to go back and work in the 3 that we skipped. So yarning over twice, and we are working behind. So again, it's going to kind of be a big awkward reach. So just get that hook behind. So right here is that first one. And there we go, we grab that stitch. There's one. We have to work 2 more. You can see I'm pushing these down. That is quite all right. They'll pop back where they need to. And one more. Okay, so we have part of our braid, and now we are going to work front post triple crochet around the next 3. So this one will be a little easier, this part of it. Okay, so we have started it. Yeah, that you're looking at that, you're probably like, that looks terrible. And it does right now, but as I said before, trust the process. Okay, so now we are going to finish up our row. We're going to work 2 double crochet in the next 2 single crochet. And now we have to finish up our braid here. because we're going to have braids on the end. So we're going to skip this next one and we're going to work front post triple crochet around that stitch. And just like we did before, we're going to work behind. Sneak in that guy behind. And we're going to work front post triple crochet around the last stitch. And then row 4 is complete and totally looks weird. Not very cute. So let's get ready for row 5. We're going to chain 1, turn our work, and row 5 is a repeat of row 3, as I said, single crochet rows. So if you're having trouble when you look at it like this, you might think, where are my stitches? So what you want to do, once you turn it like that, you can see, get this working yarn out of the way, you can see the tops of your stitches. And even when you come to this part where everything's kind of been rearranged, you can stretch it out a little bit and see there's the stitch. Stretch it out. There's your little V's. Stretch them out. So you want to make sure that you are working 19 stitches. So you're always going to have 19 stitches. They're just going to be in different parts sometimes, moved around when you're doing the cable section. So I'm going to finish up my 19 single crochet for row 5 off camera, and so I'll meet you back. Okay, so we've got row 5, so let's begin row 6. Row 6, we're going to chain 1, turn our work. Okay, so now we're back to our cable section. So let's jump right in. We've chained 1, we've turned. We're going to yarn over twice, and we're going to work front post triple crochet around this first triple crochet here. So it'll be a little bit easier to find the stitches since they're already established. So there's our first stitch, and we're going to skip the next one. So it's there, and we're going to work front post triple crochet around the next one. Now we need to go back and work in the one we skipped. So as you can see, I'm pushing these guys aside to find that stitch, and it's going to be just fine. And this part we don't need to work behind, so that makes it a little bit easier. All right, so looking at slightly more braid-like now. Okay, so now we are going to work 2 double crochet. So right in that single crochet, and then the next one. So we have our 2 double crochet, and now we are going to work 9 front post triple crochet. We're just working all the way across. We're not working behind, working in front, none of that. We're just working straight. So as I said before, it's going to take a while for this middle section for the pattern to really start to appear, but it really does. So I think it looks really nice. I'm really happy with it. So just working front post triple crochet all the way across. So I've got my first 3. All right, so these guys, they're covered up. So it might be easy to just kind of skip them and go over, but you got to find them. So peel that guy back, and there they are. There's our 3 stitches that we need to work. So this is stitch number 4 out of our 9 stitches, because this big section's made up of 9 stitches. So this is 5. And 6. And 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so we've got that part worked out there. So now we have to work 2 double crochet. And we need to finish up our braid on the end, and it's going to be the same as what we did in the beginning here. So front post triple crochet around the first stitch here. And we're going to skip that middle guy and work another one. And I can post links to stitch, post stitch tips and all that. I do have some videos if you need some extra help. I actually have a lot of projects with post stitches and braids because I like braids. I think they're nice. All right, so there is row 6. So row 7, we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and it's a single crochet row. So you're just going to single crochet in that same stitch, single crochet all the way across for row 7. So I'm going to do that and I'll meet you back. Okay, so let's begin row 8. We're going to chain 1, turn our work, and we're going to keep going here. So we are going to work front post triple crochet around. We're going to skip this first one and work in the next one. So we got to find it. It's kind of hiding. There it is. And we're going to go back and work in the one we skipped, and we are back working behind. So just popping that hook back there. And working front post triple crochet around the next one. So this braid is going to start to pop out a little bit more quickly than the one in the middle. That one's, as I said before, so you can kind of see. And the ones on the ends are more like a loose braid. The one in the middle is going to be a little bit more of a tighter braid. Okay, so we are going to work 2 double crochet in our next 2 single crochet. And now we're back to the center braid. We are going to just do the same thing as we did for row 6. We're just going to work straight across front post triple crochet. All right, so we've just worked straight across. Looks nothing like a braid, but again, it will happen, I promise. Okay, so 2 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then we have to complete our row with our little braid on the other side. So we're going to skip this stitch and work in the middle one. Again, just look for it. And we have to work behind. So as I like to call it, hook gymnastics. I love gymnastics, so and you kind of do have to finagle your hook to find it. But once you familiarize with yourself with post stitches and moving your hook around, it's not too bad. Okay, so row 8 is complete. So row 9 is a single crochet row. You're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn and you're just going to single crochet across for row 9. So I'll do that off camera and I'll meet you back for row 10. Okay, so I've got row 9 done, our single crochet. Let's chain 1, turn our work for row 10. So we are going to work front post triple crochet around this first stitch here. Okay, so now we're going to skip our next one. So it's hiding back there. There it is. So we're skipping that one. We're working front post triple crochet around the next. And now we're going to go back and work front post triple crochet around the one we skipped. Whoops, I'm grabbing extra stitches. We don't want to do that. There we go. Just want to work around that front post triple crochet. Okay, so there we go. So now we are going to work 2 double crochet And now we're going to go back and we're going to do some more fun things with this braid. So we're yarning over twice. We're going to work 3 front post triple crochet around these next 3 stitches. Okay, so what we need to do is we are skipping 3 stitches. We're going to work front post triple crochet around these next 3. Okay, so now we need to go back and work 3 front post triple crochet around the ones we skipped, and we don't have to work behind, we're just going to work in front, crossing over. So a little bit of a reach, but it's okay. Working that stitch. And I'm going to finish up working the next 2. Okay, so it's looking a little better now. All right, so now we're going to work 2 double crochet in that next 2 single crochet. And we're going to finish up our row. So front post triple crochet around that first stitch. Skipping the next stitch. So it likes to kind of hide in there, but it's there, working in that one. And then we go back and work in the one we skipped. Okay, so we're going to chain 1, turn our work. So row 11 again is a single crochet row. So I'm going to do that off camera and I will meet you back. Okay, so I've worked row 11, I've already chained 1 and turned. So what you want to do for this pattern is you are going to be repeating rows 4 through 11 for however long you want your, or however long you know you need to work your cowl. So my sample cowl, because I use different yarn, was worked with 83 rows or 36 inches. So you could use, I do suggest a heavier yarn. So if you don't have that bulky yarn that I showed in the beginning, you could just have 2 strands of worsted weight held together to make this project. But you want to work it until it's about 36 inches long, and you do want to end on a row 11. And what I can also do is I will put a timestamp where row 4 begins, because 4 through 11, that's quite a bit of rows, so you might not remember the sequence. So I'll put that timestamp up, and it should be showing up right about now so that you can go back and refresh yourself. So just work rows 4 through 11, and then we'll get ready to turn this into a cowl. All right, so here is my sample cowl, as you can see. So now you can see how the braid pops out there in the middle after you've got quite a few rows going on. So I did work up to row 83. So this is a single crochet row, and this was a row 11. So you do want to end on a row 11 for the cable part, and then your final row would be the single crochet row. So now we need to turn this guy into a cowl. What we're going to need to do is cut our yarn first. So we cut the yarn. There we go. All right, so when you're looking at this cowl, you're going to look at the ends here. So you're going to see the one end here. It's going to have a more straighter edge, and then the other end is going to be the more curved edge. So this is the edge that I think looks nicer around the neck So that's what we're going to want. And so then this edge is going to be on the bottom. So what you want to do is you're going to have your cowl horizontal. So this is your curved edge. So that's going to be at the bottom. So here's the straight edge, curved edge. So you're going to flip it over. Sorry, I don't have a lot of desk space, so things are rattling around. Okay, so we flipped it over. So this is the wrong side, obviously. So now you're going to cross the ends over. So now here we have the curved edge is on the top. This is going to be around your neck. And we need to turn this into a cowl. So we have them crossed over the straight edges on the bottom. So what you're going to want to do, see if I can zoom out a little bit more. Okay, so hopefully that's a little better. So we've got these guys, we're crossing it over. Sorry, a child interrupted me. Okay, so we've crossed these guys over. So here's the one end. Here's the other. So we're going to have it like that. So you can see it's like a V. Then this is where the neck part here. So you're just going to pull it over your head like that. So what we need to do is we need to stitch this closed. Okay, so we have everything. We've got it lined up here. So that's where the neck's going to go. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to attach the yarn at the bottom here. Oops, yeah, I dropped it. Okay, I have picked up the yarn. Okay, so we're going to work slip stitch around these ends here and at the end here of this straight row. You're just going to work at the ends of the row. So you want to make sure everything's lined up nicely. So corner to corner. So we're going to attach that yarn. I'm going to chain one. Let me get back in frame. Sorry about that. And I'm just going to, again, just line everything up nicely. So you want your stitches to look nice and even. And so you'll insert your hook into this stitch here. And then at the end of this row, like that. It's not that difficult. I'm just, because I'm looking through the viewfinder and trying to do this, I feel like I'm making it a lot harder than it needs to be. Okay, so you're just going to continue to slip stitch through both thicknesses here. And we're going to slip stitch all the way down here and then all the way up there, and then once you're done you'll cut your yarn. So I'm going to do that off camera and I will meet you back. Alright, so I finished stitching all the way around and all the way around here, and I already cut my yarn here. So then to wear this, you're just going to pop this over your head, and then, you know, this is where your head will pop out. This is, you know, this part goes around your neck, and this thing is super warm. This is probably going to be a favorite this winter, especially if we get a lot of snow and I have to go out and shovel. I will be wearing this, I think, quite a bit. So after you're done stitching, you cut your yarn, then you'll need to weave in any ends. If you need to block this, then, you know, give it a gentle block and you're all set to go. And so I hope you enjoyed this project, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.